Alright, so this is going to be part 1 to what if Naofumi was a sword hero. There's not going to be intro for this. Basically, what I'm trying to do is the money that I get from this channel, I'm going to try to reinvest it. So I'm not going to have the intro because I don't want to get it claimed or get the chance to get claimed, because sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. So I'm just going to avoid the entire thing by not having the song in general. So yeah, so I'd like to say a few things before we get started with the what if. One is that the music in the background, if I remember to put it in, is made by Depresso. If you want to go check out their channel, I'll put a link in the description. They interviewed me for their series, What Is Up with the What If Community, I think it's called. So you could go and check out their video where they interviewed me. I'll put a poll on this video if you guys want this music in the background still for other videos, because he did make it for me. So I'm going to at least put it in this video. If you guys like it, then I'll keep it in. Also, with the what if, I did make the thumbnail. I did draw. I am getting better. I'm not... I'm kind of new to digital art, so yeah. So I'll put a picture of Ren's party members on screen. Basically, they have the names, but not really who they go to. So I just assumed which name goes with which character, and yeah. So before we actually get started with the what if, I'd like to say that if this video gets 150 likes, I will do part 2 as fast as I can. So let's see, what else do I need to say? Oh yeah, this video is actually scripted. So if you want more scripted videos, tell me in the comments below. And with that being said, let's actually get into the video. Our story would begin with Naofumi on the mountains, looking down at the plains, wearing a black, white, and blue robe. He's holding a sword in his hand. As he's looking down at the world, a ball bounces near him. He catches the ball, and something seems to be following it. It was a girl, a bit shorter than Naofumi himself. He felt natural for him to give it back the ball, but before Naofumi could take a better look at the girl, he woke up in a cold sweat. After the dream, he had gotten ready to go out to the library, not really mentioning what happened in the dream. Naofumi didn't really have much spending money, so he came to the library. In previous times, he would just go there to look at the light novels they had, and this time was no different. He had bumped into a shelf and knocked over a dark red book. The title of the book was The 4 Cardinal Weapons. Naofumi was intrigued by this book, so he opened it up. The story was about 4 different heroes with 4 different weapons, that being a spear, bow, sword, and shield. Naofumi thought this was any typical light novel story, but he thought the inclusion of the shield was a bit strange. In his mind, the shield wasn't really much of a weapon. He continued reading, and he had seen that the book had 4 different characters, that being the 4 different heroes, which each would have a chapter of themselves. But as he flipped the pages, he got to the Sword Heroes chapter, and he looked. The pages were blank. Suddenly, a bright light appeared from the book. Naofumi felt the ground leave from him. When he could see again, he found himself in front of a large group of people in robes, and 2 others on the side of him. When he looked at these 2 individuals on both sides, they were wearing normal clothes and each had a weapon, one a bow and the other a spear. There was another person in front of them. They were on the ground, and from what he could tell, he had some sort of shield on his right arm. Before Naofumi could get adjusted to his surroundings, what seemed to be the group leader started to speak. "Oh great heroes, we have summoned you here to help save our world." Naofumi was confused by this, and the man continued, "Will you help us save the world?" Naofumi said, "I mean, sure," but before he could continue, the 2 others on the sides, as well as the person in front of him, began to speak one after another. The first was the person with the bow. He had said, "How do we know you won't just throw us aside right after we save your world, and our efforts would have been wasted?" Next was the spear hero. "There better be a reward for this, because we're not going to do this for free." The man with the robes responded by saying, "Of course, the kingdom has already determined the amount of rewards you will get." And the person in the front seemed a bit not as confident as the others, but still spoke up. "If you think you can control us that easily, you better think again." The person with the spear seemed to agree with this and added, "Depending on your answer, we might become your enemies." The man in the robes then continued, "We assure you we have no such ideas of controlling. Here, come with me to go meet the king." The 4 heroes decided to follow the man as they began to walk up the steps. Naofumi looked out the window and realized that yes, he was in a different world. There was a breeze and Naofumi commented on it. The bow hero said, "So you never really been outside Japan?" Before he could respond, the shield hero began to complain. He said, "Why do I have to get the shield? It goes completely against my playstyle." Naofumi asked, "What, is the shield bad?" The shield hero then responded, "Of course. Have you never played an RPG before? No one picks the Shielder class." Keep in mind that Naofumi is not really a gamer. Then Naofumi continued, "Well, maybe you'd be able to max it out and bring out the full potential." The shield hero then said, "Maybe, but That's going to be endgame content. The 4 heroes continued up the stairway until they reached the throne room. So you young men are the 4 cardinal heroes of ancient legend. This is the land of Melromark, and I am her king, Alcrane Melromark the 22nd. Welcome, brave heroes. Please identify yourself. Naofumi went first. Naofumi Iwatani, college student, 20 years old. Next was the spear hero, Motoyasu Kitamura, college student, 21 years old. I suppose I'm next. Itsuki Kamasumi, high school student, 17 years old. The shield hero stepped forward. Looks like I'm last. I'm good. Naofumi, Motoyasu, and Itsuki, the king said as he interrupted the shield hero. Hey, I wasn't finished. The king then apologized. Itsuki then whispered, hey, you can't just interrupt the king like that, it's rude. Look, respect goes both ways, so let me introduce myself. I'm Ren Amaki, high school student, 16 years old. After this, the king began to speak. Now then, I suppose I need to explain why I brought you here. My beloved country and the entire world surrounding it is going down a path of certain ruin. The king then explained that there are these things called waves where chaotic events happen, and it is the job of the heroes to stop these waves. Each country has this item called a dragon's hourglass, in where it is able to tell the exact moment when a wave is going to commence, and the next one is less than a month away. Naofumi is listening. As Naofumi is listening to this, he realized that it was the same story as the one told in the book. The king began to speak again. I ask of you heroes to check your statuses. Itsuki and Naofumi were confused. Statuses? Ren then chimed in. Oh, come on. You haven't seen the icon in the lower right hand corner of your vision? This is when all the heroes checked their status. After doing so, all were worried because each hero was only level 1. A man that was right next to the king then explained to the 4 heroes what they were seeing was their own exclusive magic called status magic, and to level it up, they would have to go on adventures to gain experience. Ren spoke in a rather disappointed tone. Great, I just have to act like a wall while you guys just take out the enemies. The man began to speak again to correct Ren. Brave heroes, I neglect to mention, due to the nature of the weapons, you must form your own parties because the weapons repel one another. If you try to work together, it will apparently hinder their experience. As the heroes were taking this new information in, the king spoke again. The sun is going down, so you heroes can go get some sleep, and in the morning we will gather the best to form your party. We cut to a scene with all 4 heroes in their quarters, with Motoyasu saying, I guess when you're a legendary hero, you get special treatment. Naofumi wasn't paying attention. He realized something as he spoke and said, hey, doesn't this seem like a game to you? Motoyasu quickly responded, that's because it is, exactly like Emerald Online. Naofumi replied, never heard of it. Really? It's huge. Itsuki then said, no, it's just like one console game I've been playing. One thing led to another, and the 4 heroes come to learn that they all are from alternate versions of Japan. The next day, the king had called the 4 heroes to the throne room so that they could form their parties. We have gathered the best throughout the land to form your parties. The room was filled with many adventurers with distinct features. With objections out of the way, please form your parties. This is when a group of adventurers would stand behind the hero they wanted to go with. Naofumi was confused, thinking that they get to choose? He closed his eyes, hoping that he would get at least someone on his party. When he opened them again, he realized he had the most people in his group, consisting of 5 members. He looked at the right and realized that Ren didn't get any. Ren spoke up, Your Highness, how come I did not get anyone in my party? The king replied, yes, I did not expect this outcome. This is when a man came to the king and whispered in his ears, I just been informed that there is a rumor going around stating that the shield hero is a selfish man with no charisma and only thinks of himself, and the 4 legendary heroes are supposed to be charitable, noble, and charismatic. I suppose that the villagers don't see that in you and have chosen not to adventure with you. This is when Ren said, you guys have so many more party members, you don't even need them. Like you, Naofumi. Could you spare some? I mean, I'm the shielder class. It's not like I'm gonna do that much damage. Naofumi said, you're right, but I can't just force him to go. Ren was losing hope until a soul woman with red hair spoke out and asked Motoyasu if she was allowed to switch parties. Motoyasu asked, are you sure? Well, yes, if the shield hero will have me. Ren said, well, it's not like I have a choice. With the parties established, the king began to give out the rewards. Starting each month, the heroes will get a certain amount of silver to buy any items they may need. This time the shield hero will get more than the others, since there's only one member in his party. He will get 800 silver, while the rest will get 600. After everything was said and done, this is where the heroes part ways. Naofumi said to his party, since we're going to travel together, let's at least know each other's names. Each introduced themselves. There was Welt, Bacta, Teresa, and Fari. Naofumi asked his party, is it me? Or does it seem like the shield hero is not really liked around here? Why is that? The party was hesitant, but Welt spoke up. There is this religion that the church follows, in where the 3 heroes are worshipped. 3? Naofumi asked. Aren't there 4? Welt continued. Yes, but the church seems to see the shield hero as some sort of devil, so you could see why we were hesitant to join. Naofumi thought to himself, that must be hard, especially for the youngest out of us to get so much hatred without getting even known first. That is when Naofumi remembered there was a girl who joined Ren's party. Maybe he'll be alright. Naofumi was lost in thought until his party members asked him, should we go straight to leveling or buy some equipment? Naofumi said, well, I guess we can go to the shop. I mean, you guys are already well equipped, and I don't even have armor yet. After this, the party went off to find a local shop to buy armor. By the time they got there, they had noticed Ren and that woman walking out of the door. Naofumi then asked, do you guys know her? Given what you guys told me about this country, I find it strange that someone would volunteer to be the shield hero's party member. This is when Teresa said, if you weren't a hero, I would have called you dumb. But since you're not from around here, that woman that's with the shield hero, she's Melromark's second princess. Bacta added, yes, now that you mention it, it is quite strange for a princess to go with the shield hero. I wonder why. Fari spoke as well. In any case, it is rather fortunate that someone volunteered to join the hero's party. But now then, let's actually go to the shop and get our supplies. The group then walked into the shop where an older looking man was there to greet him. Wow, by the looks of it, it seems I have another hero coming through my shop. The sword hero this time. Wow. Naofumi replied, yeah, we're just here to get a few weapons and items. The group then looked around. Bacta said, it's quite rare for a shopkeeper to sell shields. Naofumi then asked why. Like Welt said, it's because of religious reasons. The group bought essentials and had around 300 silver left. We then cut back to around an hour ago with Ren and mine in the shop. Just before Naofumi got there, Master Ren, since we have the silver, it might be better to get some high quality items like this armor. Mine was very close to Ren, trying to get his attention. Ren was looking at the different shields he could buy. Then once he noticed that mine had said something, he looked at her and said, no, we will get the basics now, and we could use the silver to recruit others. And by the way, don't get so close. Mine replied, you're probably right. Mine was mad but did not want to show it. After a while, they got what they needed and they got out of the door. As they were going, Ren seen Naofumi. This is when Naofumi used his eyes to point at mine. Ren was confused by this and didn't acknowledge it. We returned to Naofumi in the field, fighting balloon monsters. Being able to one-shot them pretty easily, Naofumi had seen Ren in the distance struggling to fight until mine finished them. This is when Naofumi gestured to his party member, Fari, to come over. You are a thief, right? So that means you have a high stat in stealth? Fari said, yeah, what of it? Naofumi began to explain. After sundown, I want you to follow Ren and report what happens. Alright, so this is going to be in the video. I'm recording this part right after or in the middle of basically editing the video. And I'm sorry this took a long time to do. It's just that I kind of messed up with the editing. Basically what happened, I deleted a segment, and if you guys know like editing like videos and things like that, basically I wasn't able to move multiple clips or multiple groups to the right. So what I had to do is basically export the stuff I already had done, then splice it with the first half of the video where I had to re-edit everything, and it was just really annoying. The editing software that I have is pretty good, it's just lacking a couple basic stuff. So yeah, like I said at the beginning of the video, If we could get 150 likes for this, I'll make a second part. I'm sorry this took a long time to do. I just had to do a lot of stuff like write the scripts and do the thumbnail, but I also have a lot of real world stuff, like I started school recently. With that being said, remember to comment down CS so I know that you support the channel, and I'll like your comment if you do that. And remember, if you like my content, remember to subscribe, like it if you want the second part. And with that being said, it's gonna be the video, so yeah.